Welcome to Horse of the West and State Fair Park in Oklahoma City, where legends are made on finals night when world championship titles are on the line.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like walking through that tunnel, coming in here to the bright lights. It runs a shiver down you.
There's no words to describe the feeling of running through the gate.
It's what we live for. It's what we love.
This is the Cinch NRHA Non-Pro Championship Final with nearly $1.4 million in prize money on the line. We'll have the highlights. And what happens when an errant border collie decides to jump into the show pen on finals night?
You know, I was running my circles, I was looking over, and I see black and white run across my face. I'm like, oh my goodness.
We'll see how it turns out and be there when Luca Papani and the dog and his mortified owner meet for the first time.
Coming up on Your Horse Inside and Out, sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim, we're going to talk about rhino abortions and mares.
Plus, NRHA professional Ruben Van Dorp talks about why the backup should be a consistent part of your training routine. That's all coming up on Horse of the West. Coverage of the Cinch NRHA Futurity Non-Pro Championship Final is generously sponsored by Cedar Ridge Stallion Station, producing champions from pasture to show pen. Welcome to State Fair Park in Oklahoma City. This is the international headquarters of the sport of reining and the home of the National Reining Horse Association, plus its two biggest events, the NRHA Derby and this, the granddaddy of them all, the NRHA Futurity.
We love having the reiners here in Oklahoma City, both as their headquarters and with the Derby and the Futurity.
It's so special. The NRHA puts on the most amazing shows, and I couldn't be more grateful for everything that everybody does, all the sponsors here, everything. It wouldn't be possible without anybody, and we're very lucky. We're all blessed.
The NRHA Futurity is for 3-year-old horses. Non-pros do earn prize money, but they can't get paid to train, and they have to be on mounts owned by them or by their families. Men and women compete equally, as do stallions, geldings, and mares. There are 6 former champions riding here in Oklahoma City tonight, and we're going to get started with one of them, Jesse Asmussen of Maquoketa, Iowa. He's riding a mare by Not Rough at All, who was trained for him by NRHA professional Cole Price.
We bought her from Vaughn Zimmerman June of her 3-year-old year. Bobby Avila called me and he said, hey, I think I got one you'd like. And I'm like, geez, we don't need any more horses. My wife might divorce me, but I bought her, and my wife just kind of rolled her eyes, but it's been a good purchase. She's been really fun. She's really, really good-minded. I normally don't ride many mares, but this one's pretty special.
The judges award Jesse and rough style of play a 220, which is going to be a high bar for the rest of the field. Jessica Keller of Brashear, Texas, tied Jesse for the highest score in the go-round. It was a 218. This is a special stallion for Jessica and her family. His name is Snip's Shining Gun, and he's out of their mare named Snippo Gun, who was just inducted at this event into the NRHA Hall of Fame. These 3-year-olds are her final foal crop.
We had 4 this year that were 3-year-olds. 2 came to the Futurity, one's in the Open Finals, one's in the Non-Pro Finals, and this is the only filly.
What did you feel riding in there on, this is like a family member for you. What did it feel like for you to ride in there on her?
It's pretty cool. She's a really huge stopper, and I just wanted to run in and say, whoa. Honestly, that's what I've been looking forward to all week.
Jessica and Snip's Shining Gun earn a 218 from the judges here in the final and move into second. Kelly Smith of Marietta, Oklahoma is another 2-time champion of this event. She's been reserve champion multiple times as well, and she says this mare, Spookadoodle Dee, while still a little green, is one of the nicest horses she's brought to OKC.
Had a lot of bad luck with her. I zeroed twice on her when I showed her this year as a 3-year-old. My fault. One time I overspun, one time I just kind of got stuck in a rollback. But she's probably been the best 3-year-old I've had. Went in there and missed the first stop, and that always just kind of rattles the whole thing. but she showed, I mean, she's nice. I thought she is one of the nicest ones I've brought to the Futurity.
Spook-a-doodle-dee by Tricked Out Spook earns a 218, which will put Kelly Smith in third. Jose Vasquez from Markham, Illinois is an NRHA $1 million owner and $1 million rider. He's been reserve champion here twice, once when Kelly was champion. He's on another great homebred extra winding step by Wimpy's Little Step out of SLJ Smart Like Winnie. They move into second with a 219.
I'm very excited as the third generation. We're showing it here. I show the grandmother, the granddaddy, and the mother, now him. So we just keeping going. So it's like myself, my daughter, my grandkids. I hope we keeping showing, having fun.
Here's the greatest non-pro reiner of all time, Mandy McCutcheon of Aubrey, Texas. She's won this event a record 9 times. She has the maximum of 3 horses qualified this year, and this one is Title to the Buckles by Show Me the Buckles. Mandy credits her son Cade, who just turned pro, with getting the horse ready, and her husband Tom for agreeing that she needed to buy him.
Actually, Cade did 90% of the training on this horse. He showed him all year, showed him up until the Southwest Futurity, in fact, won a couple levels there, and Cade got a new horse, so this horse kind of was left in limbo riderless, and I was like, Tom, Mama needs a new horse.
And Mama's got a 219 to tie Jose and move into the reserve spot. Jack Meadows of Cuba, Missouri won this event when he was still a youth rider. He's in college now, having to balance his reining with his studies in civil engineering. He just finished a final in structural analysis. Yikes.
Yeah, I got back late last night. I had to go back and take a final for my school yesterday, and then I came back down to ride and show today.
Jack earns a 214.5 on Valentino's Spook and credits NRHA professional Trevor Dare for getting the gelding by NRHA Hall of Fame member and $6 million sire Smart Spook, ready to show.
Trevor comes from the all-around world, just like me, so we ride very similar, the type of cues, so it really makes it simple when you go back and forth like that.
Sally Berg of Longmont, Colorado also earns a 214.5 on Had Us at Hello by REF Black Mamba. Still ahead, look fast, that is a dog leaping onto the Coliseum floor in the middle of Luca Fapani's run in the Futurity Championship Final. We'll find out what happened and how that dog got loose in the first place coming up. Coverage of the Cinch NRHA Futurity Non-Pro Championship Final is generously sponsored by Cedar Ridge Stallion Station, producing champions from pasture to show pen.
You're watching Horse of the West on RFD-TV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
There's so much to do, I couldn't even fit it all into one weekend. Whitewater rafting at river sports, indoor rock climbing, nightlife, amazing food and restaurant scene,
bars, shops, all within walkable distance. And I live in Nashville, that's a big food town, but I think Oklahoma City could hold a candle to any other big foodie town. I don't think people really know that it's here and it's so close.
Welcome back to Horse of the West and the Cinch NRHA Non-Pro Futurity Championship Final from Oklahoma City. This is the biggest event of the year and the most sought-after title in non-pro reining. 18-year-old Taylor Zimmerman of Springfield, Missouri comes from a reining family. Her grandfather Vaughn is in the NRHA Hall of Fame, so she knows what it takes to get a horse shown well enough to make this big final.
He's been phenomenal. He's actually a full brother to the one I made a finals on last year, and he really pulled through for me today. He's so much fun.
Taylor earns a 217, which will put her in first in the youth division. Gina Maria Schumacher of Givens, Germany earns a 216 on one Mr. JJ by Colonel's Shining Gun.
We bought him as a baby, and he lost a little bit time in the training this year, but he's, I think, a horse with a big heart and hopefully a nice future.
Hall of Fame member Mandy McCutcheon is back on Coronas at Night by NRHA $3 million sire Gunner's Special Night. Mandy is not only a $2 million rider, she's also a $1 million owner who rides many of the horses her family breeds. So how does she know when she has a really good one?
After I've shown them a couple times, or after I've shown them once, or, you know, they can promise you the world outside, but it takes a really big heart and a good mind to be a good show horse, and that's the difference in the winners and the losers. I think it's just like people. Some of the horses don't have as much ability as others, but if they have the heart and the try, it makes all the difference.
A 2:17 from Mandy McCutcheon and Coronas at Night will put her in 6th. She's also tied for 2nd with Jose Vazquez and Extra Winding Step, with Jesse Asmussen still in 1st with that 2:20 from the very first draw. Ryan Humphrey of Whitesboro, Texas, grew up on horses, but decided to make the switch to reiners after the very first time he tried one. He and his wife now stand reining stallions, breed, raise, and train reining horses, and this is one of their own. Chicks Are for Shootin' by Guns Are for Shootin'.
Born, raised, trained. Ruben Van Dorp has been helping us with her and had her for the last 6 months, and Megan, my wife, and I started her.
The judges award another 2:17, which puts Ryan Humphrey in a tie for 6th. So Jesse Asmussen is still leading with the 2:20. Now here's 15-year-old Luca Fapani, the son of NRHA $5 million rider Andrea Fapani. He's riding Gotta Get Diamonds by NRHA $2 million sire Spook's Gotta Whiz out of Tinker with Diamonds. Luca is not having quite the run he had hoped for, but he's working on pulling it together when suddenly, from nowhere, a border collie leaps out of the stands and into the show pen.
You know, I was running my circles, I was looking over, and I see black and white run across my face. Oh my goodness. So then I had space, so I kept running, and then coming around for my second large fast, he ran right past my face, so I just stopped him.
Yeah, I was just scared because I was fine with him running away from the horse, but when he started crossing the path with the horse going that fast, it can go south really fast. So
the Fapanis confer with the judges and determine Luca will get another run. His horse will get a breather as the last few competitors go, and then he takes to the show pen for a second time. He has a much better run this time around, and as they wait for the score, the crowd knows there is a chance Luca Fapani could take the lead.
2:20. That's right. Let's talk about it.
A 2:20 will tie Luca with Jesse Asmussen. Now, Jesse has shared this title once in the past, but he knows he left points on the table the first time around. He opts for a runoff. We'll see how it goes coming up, and we'll meet the well-meaning pup that caused all the hubbub. And NRHA professional Ruben Van Dorp talks about why working on the backup is one of the most important parts of his training program. Be right back. Coverage of the Cinch NRHA Futurity Non-Pro Championship Final is generously sponsored by Cedar Ridge Stallion Station, producing champions from pasture to show pen.
Your Horse Inside and Out with Dr. Joe Carter, sponsored by Beringer Ingelheim.
Rhino abortion is a very real problem. We don't see it as commonly as we used to because people have gotten so good at vaccinating their mares and doing some other herd management practices, like isolating pregnant mares from open mares, pregnant mares from yearlings, things that might have colds and coughs that can carry this rhino virus that causes abortion also. And so, but we do see it, so you have to be diligent. Talk to your veterinarian about the prevalence of rhino in your area and any special management, preventive measures, biosecurity measures that your veterinarian might recommend for your particular group of mares or broodmare circumstance. But rhino pneumonitis causes runny noses, coughs, fevers in young horses or any horse actually. And then in pregnant mares, it can actually infect the fetus, affecting the liver and the lung of the fetus and the placenta, causing that mare to abort the pregnancy. It's a late pregnancy abortion. It occurs in the last trimester of pregnancy. Remember, mares are pregnant for 11 years and 5 days. I mean, 11 months and 5 days. And so you want to vaccinate these mares 3 times at 5, 7, and 9 months of pregnancy to prevent this rhino virus from attacking the fetus and causing an abortion in your mare. It's a very simple intramuscular vaccination to give. It's very effective and works very well as long as you do it at the right time and the right time of year and when your horse is ready, and healthy to respond to it. So visit with your veterinarian about rhino abortion in mares, and I'm Dr. Joe Carter with Your Horse Inside and Out.
Your Horse Inside and Out is sponsored by Beringer Ingelheim. Before making any decisions about your horse's health, be sure to contact your veterinarian.
There's so much to do, I couldn't even fit it all into one weekend. Whitewater rafting at river sports, indoor rock climbing, nightlife, amazing food and restaurant scene,
bars, shops, all within walkable distance. And I live in Nashville, that's a big food town, but I think Oklahoma City could hold a candle to any other big foodie town. I don't think people really know that it's here and it's so close.
We're back in Oklahoma City, where after a strange episode with a dog jumping into the arena, the Cinch NRHA Futurity Non-Pro title has come down to a runoff between 15-year-old Luca Fapani and Gotta Get Diamonds and Jesse Asmussen and Rough Style of Play. The riders go in the same order they drew originally, so Jesse goes first. Now his mare has had some experience in the run-in, and he knew he had not asked for quite as much as he might have the first time around. Jesse does so this time, and he bumps his score up 2 full points to earn a 222. Luca knows his horse has already done a run and a half and has not had as long to air up, but he takes him out and has a nice run, marking a 218. Luca gives credit to Jesse for doing everything right and to his horse for giving it all he had.
Yeah, he tried his heart out. He ran 3 times tonight, and he tried for every single one of them. He's a great horse.
So Jesse Asmussen will take home his 3rd NRHA Futurity title, this time on Rough Style of Play by Not Rough at All. Luca Fapani and Gotta Get Diamonds by Spooks Gotta Whiz take the reserve and the youth title. And hopefully Jesse's wife, who wasn't a big backer of his adding another horse to their stable, is okay with it now. Jesse joked that he thought she might divorce him if he brought this one home.
Are you still married?
Still married, yes. After tonight, I think we'll be all right.
Now from the Training Secrets Vault, Ruben Van Dorp on the importance of the backup.
Well, today I would like to talk about one of the most basic maneuvers in reining, and maybe one of the most overlooked maneuvers in reining. It's the backup. Backup actually shows a lot of softness in the horse, a lot of willingness, and to me the backup is more than just backing your horse up. It's about the horse paying attention, the horse being soft, and every time I stop and I make the horse take a couple steps back, I make them bring their thoughts back to me. So I spend a lot of time on the backup and really spent a lot of time getting it soft to where they can do it on their own. So usually what I do is I just walk them forward, drive them forward, I'll take my feet off, and I just let them start crawling back. And if they don't back fast enough, I just tap them left foot, right foot, soft. And the goal is just every step they take to be cadenced, just like you're going forward. When you lope them, you don't want them to take a short stride, a fast stride, speed up, slow down. Same in that backup. It's just every stride, I want it to be the same. So there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just nice and cadenced, easy and back. What happens a lot, what you see a lot is people try to rush it and they use a little too much hand. And hand is good, like you want them to be soft, but sometimes when you back up and you start pulling too hard, the horse can get too deep behind and they can start stumbling a little bit. So it's very important to keep 1, the cadence, and 2, keep the balance for the horse. You see this horse wants to be low-headed with his head and neck, and it's my goal as a trainer to get him where I can back him up on that loose rein, and I back him till he drops his head, till he relaxes nice, and then I just let him sit as a reward, and I close my legs on him and finish that maneuver by putting the head down. At this point, I know that his thoughts are 100% with me, and he's thinking good thoughts even though he shakes his head no, but he's ready to go left, right, or forward. And it's very important for me through that backup to accomplish a horse that is just ready all the time to go in every direction. So don't ever just think like, oh, okay, I'll go stop, turn, and change leads. That backup is a foundation of a lot of the maneuvers and mentally very important.
When we come back, the Fapanis beat Brady the Border Collie.
Congratulations, you guys. This is Brady.
How Brady got loose when we come back. Coverage of the Cinch NRHA Futurity Non-Pro Championship Final is generously sponsored by Cedar Ridge Stallion Station, producing champions from pasture to show pen.
There's so much to do, I couldn't even fit it all into one weekend. Whitewater rafting at river sports, indoor rock climbing, nightlife, amazing food and restaurant scene,
Bars, shops, all within walkable distance. And I live in Nashville, that's a big food town, but I think Oklahoma City could hold a candle to any other big foodie town. I don't think people really know that it's here and it's so close.
Welcome back to Horse of the West. The Border Collie pup that ended up jumping onto the floor of the Coliseum in Oklahoma City while Luca Fapani was showing in the Cinch NRHA Non-Pro Futurity Championship final belonged to a woman named Linda Fuller who'd made the trip to Oklahoma City from Howell, Michigan. While her doggo was demoing his natural herding instincts, she had been racing around the Coliseum looking for him. She was horrified to learn he had found his way into the show pen. The next day, Linda and Brady met with Luca Fapani and his dad Andrea, mom Tish, and brother Jeremy to explain what happened.
Hi guys!
Don't tell me that this is the dog.
This is the dog. This is him. Come here, Brady. He loves. I'm Linda. It's nice to meet you.
I'm Tish.
Tish.
Luca.
And
Jeremy.
Congratulations, you guys. This is Brady. Brady loves kids and people.
And horses.
And horses.
Well, Brady was working, right?
Yeah, so it was quite a story.
Is he a puppy or what is it?
He's a puppy. He's a border collie. He's 10 months old, so he's just learning about his herding instinct. And you got to experience
There's
it.
no doubt that he has instinct.
Yeah.
So what happened last night? Where
So he was in his stall.
He was down here?
We're stalled way up by the front by the diamond exhibit.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend and I were gonna go get something to eat in the Coliseum, and I had to go in and get my badge. So I walked him into the stall with a leash. I shut the door, unleashed him, and went to walk out, and he slithered out faster than me. And well, he didn't take off very far, very fast, but he was like excited. And my boyfriend called him, and he stopped, and he turned around, and he looked, and no sooner did he stop, turn around, and look, a horse got loose in that aisleway. So Brady saw the horse, got scared, turned and ran. So I ran the next aisleway over, came back to see if the horse got caught up.
Yeah.
And he did, and then I was like, where did Brady go? And I stopped by the Markel booth to ask someone there that I knew. I'm like, have you seen a dog? And they were like, no. And I looked up.
He was fast.
Oh, at the top of the ramp, and no sooner did I look up, everyone's looking down the ramp, and I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't good. Well, I just felt mortified. I felt so bad. I looked up, and I was like, oh my God, and then I said a prayer. I'm like, I hope Brady comes when he gets called.
He did. You can see Linda there at the outgate calling Brady, who obediently returns to her. Then she says she turned to the judge to find out what would happen next.
And he was like, oh, he's fine. Luca will get a re-ride. And I'm like, oh, but what do you want me to do?
No worries, that works out for the best for everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry for everything that mean people have said on Facebook and all that. On our end, we're dog people and we totally get it, so no worries.
Find more reining content on YouTube at Horse of the West, and don't forget to subscribe. Coming up in the weeks ahead, we'll have coverage of the NRHA Futurity $20,000 added invitational freestyle sponsored by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau. The Adequan North American Affiliate Championship is also coming up, along with NRCHA's World's Greatest Horseman and World's Greatest Youth Horseman. I'm Jennifer Reynolds. We'll see you then.